we're going to be exploring negative numbers and how to compare them. To start with, I thought I would show you a number line that goes from -6 to +6. Okay, and our terminology is really important. We often say -6, -5, or -2, and so on. But actually, the correct terminology is -6, -5, -2. So we need to be using the correct terminology to start with. So what do we mean by a negative number? A negative number is any number that is below 0. So there is 0 on my number line. -1 means that it's 1 below 0. -2 is 2 jumps away from 0. -5, the negative means it's below 0 and it's 5 below 0. That's, if we're unpicking what negative numbers are, that is what they mean. Okay, so if you had -12, well, the negative part tells me it's below 0, and the 12 tells me that it's 12 jumps below 0. That's what it means. So let's have a look at comparing two numbers that are on our number line. If we have -5 and 2, okay, which one of those numbers is big? Is it bigger? Is it -5 or -2? Okay, now some people, okay, think that, well, of course it must be -5 because 5 is greater than 2. And that's why they think -5 is greater. But that's not correct, okay? If we're comparing a negative number and a positive number, the negative number will always be smaller because it's 5 below 0. Okay, 5 below 0 is smaller than being 2 and it's positive, okay, 2 above 0. Okay, so -5 is less than 2. Okay, whenever you are comparing a negative number and a positive number, your negative number will always be smaller because it's below 0. And how you could think of it is, I think of this negative a bit like if you're going down and you're digging down into the earth and down into the ground. Okay, this is what the negative means. You're going down. Okay, so would you rather be 5 jumps down in the ground, which is below, or would you rather be 2 above the ground? Which level is higher? That's an analogy that might work for you. It might not. But let's have a look at another example. Still using our number line that we've got, and then we'll extend the number line a bit more. So let's have a look at 6 and -3. So 6 and -3. This is my positive number. It's 6 above 0. So if I get rid of this here, okay, or is it -3, which is 3 below 0? So again, maybe think of it in terms of digging down into the ground. Would you be 3 levels below? Is that greater than or less than being 6 above? Which one's higher? Okay, you can think of it in that way, and you would realise, and you can use your number line, that 6 is greater than -3. Okay, so let's have a look then at one where they're both negative numbers. Okay, so now this is where our number line, it was a very small number line, and it's not really going to help us now. So let's get rid of that and move this one up. What if we had these numbers? -14 and -31. Okay. The misconception here is that people think, oh, well, that says 31. So 31 is greater than 14, so it must be that way. Okay, that's the misconception that people have, and I can understand why, really. People think that -31 is greater than -14 because they almost ignore these negative signs and just treat it as 14 and 31. But you can't do that. It's really important that we look at the negative sign. So if we look at -14 and -31, which one's further away from 0? Okay, and sometimes drawing a number line helps you. So there's 0. Okay, -14, that means I'm 14 below 0. Or negative 31, which is 31 below 0. Which one is smaller? Which one's further away from the 0? Because they're both negative numbers, so that's fine. Which one's further below 0? Negative 31. The further away, with negative numbers, the further away you get, the smaller the number from 0. So that must mean that minus 14 is greater than, negative 14, apologies, is greater than negative 31. Because negative 14 is only 14 jumps away from 0, whereas negative 31 is 31 jumps away from 0. It's got much further to go. So let's have a look at another one. I get rid of that. And sometimes drawing a little sketch helps. So what if we had negative 51 and negative 27? Okay, which one of them is further away from 0? Is it the one that's 15 jumps below 0, so far away from 0, or is it the one that's only 27 jumps below 0? Which one's closer to 0? Okay, so well done if you said that this one, negative 27, is closer to 0. You could think of a number line like this. And we could do it this way. So I'm just showing you different ways, because one way might work for you. Some people won't need to draw a number line out, that's fine. When we say draw a number line, we don't need to make sure we've accurately measured all of our intervals on our number line. It's just a quick sketch. So negative 27 might be about there. Negative 51, and it's not drawn to scale, as some of you will realise. Negative 51's here. Which one is further away from 0? It's the one that's all the way down here, negative 51. So that must mean it's smaller. Okay, the further away from 0, the smaller the number. Okay, so let's do one more. And this is where you have to look at the negative numbers. Because they will help, not just think of it in as the integer, the positive whole number. So let's have minus, that's meant to say 75. Sorry, negative 75. So it's quite easy to say minus, but negative 75 and negative 104. Which one of those, and I will give you some time to think about it, so pause the video and just have a think before we go through it. Which one of those is greater? So hopefully you pause the video, and some of you might have done a sketch, and that's fine, off the number line. So which one of those is greater? Which one is closer to 0? Is it negative 75 or negative 104? Okay, I know that negative 104 is further away from 0 than negative 75. This means it's 104 jumps below 0, and this one's only 75 jumps below 0. Okay, so I've had to jump further, so this must be smaller. So negative 75, because it is closer to 0 than negative 104.